Hello, and welcome to Darkroom Chat Live. It's, what are we on now? Sunday, 24th of May. It's 3 p.m. in the UK. This is the second time we've done this now. First time we didn't stream it live. It's kind of a bit of a test case, so we'll see how this goes today. We've got Dan over in Hong Kong with us, Thomas from Berlin, and Alex in Cambridge in the UK, and myself, John, over in Coventry. We haven't really got plans today. We've all kind of got little projects that we're working on, so we're just going to go through each person's now and just see what everyone's up to. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
So then, Dan, let's start with you, seeing as you're top of the screen. What are you up to today?
Well, today I have my hands on a new enlarger, the Durst M301, which is about the most humble enlarger that's ever been sold. I bought one of those back when I was 7 years old for about the equivalent of under $1 US, right? Like 50 pence. And I learned on these at school, so I just feel like using the same enlarger again and seeing what I get.
Nice.
Another thing I might do is I've got some medical scans from from some recent medical problems, and I think I might do a contact print of some of the scans.
Yeah. Cool. Wait, have you been looking for one for a while? Or is it just complete nostalgia that you bought it?
You mean an M301?
Yeah.
They're not hard to find. They're all over the place. I think they were the cheapest ones that were ever made, and they were used quite heavily in education. Mm-hmm. So they're not hard to find. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger and paying. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was probably like £30 for this enlarger and another £20 worth of shipping. So it's just about getting around to it.
Nice. How many other enlargers have you got?
I've got, well, not including the crazy one like when I remember last week I built that enlarger for a FM3A. Yeah. And not including those. I mean, currently fixed right now. I've got the M301 here. I've got what is kind of like an Intrepid enlarger, except I mostly made it myself, including the bellows. And I had an old base and the head. So I use that for large format. And I have a Kaiser, what is it called? A VCP 6005 System V4, which handles everything up to about 6x7. So when I do X-Pan, I tend to do it on that.
Do you use them for specific purposes? Is that why you've got multiple ones?
Most 35mm is and X-Pan is this guy. It will do 6x6, 6x7, but mostly this is my 35mm head. This guy is a lot bigger. It does 4x5. I have some smaller masks for it. So, but basically medium format and large format goes on here. And this is kind of a toy to spare in case I get 3 people in the darkroom. You can't really get more than 3 people working at once, even drinking beers and stuff, right? Because you're limited by sinks. I have the big sink and 2 smaller sinks, and I really wouldn't want to push it any further than 3 people.
Yeah. Just quickly, we've got there's a message for you from Danny. He says, "Congrats on the great enlarger, Dan. I printed at home on that model too."
Thanks.
There you go. Thanks for tuning in, Danny. Right, let's jump over to Thomas. What are you doing today, Thomas?
Hey, my plan is to print postcards. So I got this Ilford postcard paper the other day. It's basically 10 by 15 centimeter paper, and it has postcard prints on the back, so you can send it as a postcard afterwards. And I made this post on Twitter, anyone's interested can send me their address and I will send postcards for free. So
nice.
I printed some yesterday already, and today I want to do some more. And so the idea is basically to print as many different negatives as possible to get a diverse selection of stuff.
Yeah. Have you done any already?
Sorry?
Have you done some more? Have you done some already?
Yeah, I had a little session yesterday, and I have like 7 or 8 different negatives printed already, and like I just want to do more and more.
Yeah.
Because it's quite fun. Like this paper, it's really cool. Like it's very heavy because it's meant to be used as postcards, and the blacks are really cool. Like for an RC paper, it's really deep black. I'm really impressed by that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So are you just doing one print of each net? Like you're doing a quick test strip and then doing one print, or?
Yeah, or 2 or 3 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I did yesterday is basically a quick test strip, and then like 2 or 3 full prints with different exposures, so that I can select afterwards which is kind of the one I like most, because it's hard to judge like under this dim light which one is really the best.
Yeah. With that postcard paper, because it's a thicker card, isn't it? Are the development times exactly the same as RC paper?
To be honest, I didn't check. I just developed it yesterday like normal paper, and it turns out fine. Like super black and everything, so I guess it works like normal.
Yeah.
It's always this problem, like when you open this box the first time, you get the instructions in the dark, and then okay, do I want to read this now or not? Probably not, so I just went ahead without reading the instructions first.
Yeah, those instructions just go on the floor, don't they? They just get put to the side and never read. Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing some of those coming through in a minute. Right, let's jump over to Alex then, who's over in Cambridge. Hi, Alex. What are you working on today?
So I literally got an order of the new Ilford MG5 or MG RC Deluxe, and that one. Sorry, I've given, and I'm going to do a comparison between the 4 and the 5. Supposedly, that's much a better contrast, and they're supposed to be tonable as well. So I figured I'd give it a go.
Mm-hmm. What have you got toners available to do today?
Not today, unfortunately. I've got to actually print them, dry them, and then go. I mean, yeah. So I won't be able to tone them today, but I'll at least give an update later, I think.
Excellent.
So
what negs are you printing?
So I've got some Ilford Ortho that I bought. I shot, I think it was January this year. And sort of just really like them around London. So I've got a particular negative I really like, which is a couple of London black cabs just on a street. So it's quite an iconic London sort of image. Actually, it was in Pimlico. I went to Mr. Cad and bought a whole heap of stuff, and then ended up with the Ortho and just couldn't wait to try it out. So put it straight in the camera and just started walking around that area.
Excellent. I shot that for the first time yesterday or the day before. I've had a quick look at the results. Looks really good. Looks really nice. I need to actually do some comparison, because I shot some FP4 at the same time, so I want to compare them side by side at some point. Right then, who wants to go? Who's going? Today I'm going to do. Alex, I don't know if you remember, I tried to do some solarization a while ago, which failed miserably. So I'm going to give that another go today. I did a load of reading, and solarization with paper isn't technically solarization. It's something called the Sabatier effect. And after delving through loads of old websites and forums and stuff, the information was basically saying that you can't use a standard developer for it. You have to use a very low contrast developer to try and achieve the effect. So I've got the raw chemicals in, mixed up my own developer, and I'm going to give that a go today and see what I get, basically. So I've already done a test strip, so I'm just going to do a full print without the solarization effect to start with, and then I'm going to experiment with the timings of the light and everything like that and see what sort of effects I can get. So there's going to be lots of flashes of lights and stuff, I think. from my end. Right, who's gonna start then? Has everybody got your negatives loaded? How are we going to do this?
Sure.
Yep.
I'm only halfway set up, so you guys kick off first.
Okay. Right. Well, you carry on prepping then. Thomas, have you got a negative in?
I have
Are
a
you ready
negative
to go?
in, so can just start doing stuff. You won't see anything in the dark because my camera is pretty bad in red light.
Yeah.
But whenever I have something in the tray and can turn on the light, I can show you basically.
Okay. Well, let's skip you and then go through to Alex then. We'll come back to you when you've got a print actually in the tray. Okay.
Cool.
All right, Alex. Let's head over to you. we can just about see you under red light, so that's all good.
Perfect. Every time you say red light, I keep getting the rock sound.
This is a no singing stream, Alex.
Yeah, perfect. All right, what I do isn't singing anyway. It's fine. Cool. So I've actually already got a couple of tests I've already done. My first test strip on the MG4, I did 5-second increments all at that. They just going to cover up a piece of paper that I accidentally left out the box. I'm going to put the light on. So let me bring my test strips over. So I actually have a holding tray here at the moment, so because my darkroom doesn't have access to water. But if I pick out my first test strip, so this is the MG4.
Mm-hmm.
And 5-second increments up to 45 seconds. And then I've just marked a little in the top right-hand corner for me, just a little notch so I know the difference between the MG4 and the MG5 paper. And then that is the new paper. And so I'm not sure if you can really see, but there's a lot more contrast going on even at the earlier time point.
Yeah.
So this is all done with a grade 2 filter, part of Ilford's filter. So I'll go back to very quickly, just the MG4. Should really just get like a Perspex, piece of Perspex or something that I can. So you can see like even.
Yeah.
Far end isn't anywhere near as contrasty, deeper black. Or, you don't hit D-max anywhere near as quickly on the MG4 as you do on the MG5.
Yeah.
Which I quite like that look. So that's what I'm sort of going for, especially with with it being a London scene and having the black cabs. I really want them to be like a nice deep black. And from my memory, they were actually black cabs and not like dark grey cabs or red or something. So yeah. So I also, not that I can show, well, maybe I can if I can bring this over, it'll be easier. So currently this is in the fix. And so, this is the MG4 paper. Mm-hmm. And I have some MG5 loaded, almost ready to go. That's in fact what I just had to cover up when I turn the light on so that I can, hopefully I can have a light leaking. We'll find out when I develop it, I guess.
Oh, superb. Right, well, look forward to seeing that.
Turn the light off, then I guess I'll just go for it. So
go for it, man. Excellent.
Just as a quick thing, what I did was I chose 45 seconds on the MG4, which meant that large print that you saw. I decided to print in what Dave Butcher calls the Ilford way, which is you do your print at grade 2, and then you find out what your timings are, then you halve the timings, and you do a print at grade 0 and then a print at grade 5, covering that typical time period. And so for the 45 seconds for the one that you just saw there, that was 23 seconds at grade 0 and at grade 5. And now I'm about to do one at 15 seconds on the multi-grade 5 paper. So that'll be 7.5 seconds.
Right.
Load up the paper and give it a go.
Yeah, go for it. What are you using for a timer? What have you got? Have you got a timer on your enlarger?
Oh, so you mean for the for my enlarger? I have the. What's it called? a Durst Labo tip.
So it is an accurate timer. You haven't got a stopwatch that you're flicking the
it's an
lights on
accurate
off.
timer. My enlarger plugs into it and it turns on and off.
Okay.
And I can do increments of 0.1 of a second up till 10 seconds. After that.
Yeah. I just because as your times are getting shorter, obviously if you haven't got a very accurate timer, the scope for error becomes greater, doesn't it? If you're just doing it manually. Just when you're
luckily I have the timer. In fact, I have 2 enlargers. The timer came with my first one, which was the Durst M670. The second, the reason why step back a bit, the reason why I have 2 enlargers is because my Durst M670 didn't come with a medium format condenser, and I really wanted to do some medium format work, and so it was cheaper. In fact, I got the second enlarger for free from a friend at the camera club than it was to buy on eBay the condenser that I needed and then the masking frame. So I have 2, but I didn't get a timer. So I just swapped the timer between the 2.
Yeah, why buy 2 when you already got one, right?
Well, only because, as I said, it was cheaper because I got the second one for free. Oh, you mean timer?
Yeah, I mean, I only have 1 timer. Well, I technically have 2 timers. But I can use that the Kaiser timer on the Durst if I want to.
Yeah, and you're never printing on two enlargers at once, right? So.
Well, I'm not.
Either right.
Right, I'm going to crack on with some of these Sabatier solarization prints. Danny's put a message in saying try a bit of exhausted developer for that instead of a different developer.
Oh, is that
haven't given that. What? Sorry.
Danny Timo from Russia.
I believe so. Yeah, he was on Twitter.
In fact, the first time I kind of got to know the guy, I was buying a print of him as a solarized print.
Oh right, okay.
He will claim not to be an expert, but don't believe him.
Right, Danny, you got any other tips then? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a print and you can tell me where I'm going completely wrong with this. How about that? I am going to swap my camera to that. Hopefully.
I'm going to wonder why all my scans have scratches on them now.
Right. Actually, I might just put that camera on. Right, so just to let everybody know who's part of this, I've put the cameras, I've just split the screen, so there are 4 cameras on screen. We've all got equal size while I'm doing some work as well. So just carry on. If you've got anything to say while you're doing it, just wave at the camera first, I guess. Yeah, we'll go from there. Right.
And I think I might make some postcards or contact them sometime.
What have they done? Right. They look like medical scans.
Yeah, indeed. That's me, the inside of.
Is that like an MRI?
I think this is either an MRI or a high contrast CT.
Cool.
Well,
I mean, I'm hoping that's like cool as well. Like everything is fine as well, like, in that sense that you don't suddenly see something. But
in an ideal.
Yeah.
I thought this also would make quite a good print, given that it says erect.
Right. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I guess my at least the big top tip at the moment is don't expose your paper to light before you expose it to your enlarger. Whoops.
What have you done?
I'll show you.
Oh, I haven't got my screen on at the moment.
Sorry. I don't know if anyone can see that, but yeah, that's what happened. That was because I took it out when we started and then hadn't put it back in the box before we just turned the light on. I thought I covered it up, but light gets everywhere.
I just realised I had a little break. I did these this morning. When I came back, I forgot that I put the wrong contrast filter in for my test strips. Oops.
So while everyone's busy, I can maybe show the first print that I made here. Let's see if that works.
Let me just...
So I made this print of like looking through a hole in a like public hallway or something. It was pretty high contrast to start with, so it's tricky to do it right, and I don't want to like this like cries for dodging or burning, right? Because it has this thing in the middle, but I don't want to go into this direction for the postcard, so I will just do straight prints here. So this is good enough, I think.
Yeah, it looks good.
So,
it's really hard to do dodging and burning on that postcard stuff because it's so small, isn't it?
yeah. So I guess I will live with that and move on to the next negative. I find it really hard to like keep track of all the stuff in the room here with this conversation going on. So I think I also had this moment of almost accidentally having my paper open.
This is a true test of multitasking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that everyone makes that mistake at least once. And you just hope it's at the end of a box rather than at the beginning.
Yeah, like a pack of 100 or something.
Yeah.
I have. Oh, you can't see me now, but I have an entirely different drawer for the paper I'm working with. It's called the Active. If I mess something up, I won't mess up all the paper in my stock.
Do you have like a box of, let's say you get a box of 50, you then take some of those out, put them into an active box or drawer, and then use that so that you don't waste the whole thing? Or
I'll only use what I need at the time, what I'm working with in the active box. It's actually not a box. It's a drawer. Right over here. This is called the Active, and it's got one single box of paper in it.
oh, cool.
Whereas this. Oh Christ! No, just kidding. This is the stock drawer, and I have further stuff in on the shelf. Yeah. So So basically, if I was to make a mess up, I at worst I would ruin one box.
Oh, cool.
Have you seen those little? I've got like a little paper safe thing that you open the front, and I don't know where it is. I think I don't use it. You kind of open the front, and it automatically feeds one piece of paper out, so it keeps the rest light tight.
Yeah, I've used these in a rental lab once, and it's really cool. And I looked at the prices, and it's like too much. I think it's almost €100 to get something like this.
Oh, is it? Mine came in like when you buy a job lot of stuff. It was just part of that. But I don't use it because I don't trust that it's not marking the paper, because it uses like little rubber pads to push the paper out, and it does that on the emulsion side. So I don't trust that those little rubber pads aren't going to damage the paper in some way.
Yeah, good point.
In the world, I buy job lots of photographic equipment. The shipping is a complete waste. I'll end up paying like £200 in shipping, and get £50 worth of gear. So there's not much point in my doing job lot. But if you're in the UK or America or Europe, I would definitely recommend it.
So what kind of easels do you guys use? Because I discovered yesterday that the one I have, it's not perfectly rectangle, and I looked into prices for them, and easels also can be insanely expensive, it seems.
Tomas, I bet it's Saunders easel, do you?
Sorry?
Is your easel a Saunders easel?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Is the brand of your easel Saunders?
No, it's a Durst. It's really old, I guess, and it's just hinged on like 2 sides and not on 4 sides, which is why it's not perfectly rectangle.
Yeah, we have one like that. It's a Saunders. I also have a Kinzel, which is good, but every corner is self-adjusted, so you have to keep your wits about you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Difficult to use.
I've got an LPL easel mask, which is like a 2-bladed adjustable, but I don't actually use it that often. I kind of make my own out of just some mat board, and then stick it down with some masking tape.
Yeah, that's a smart idea.
Well, I had the same problem as you, right? I looked at the prices and was like, that is a ridiculously expensive thing. So I figured I would just make one myself. Plus, I like to put like a little window. I like to keep the window, cut that down by an extra couple of millimeters each side, and then you can make like a custom border as well around your prints.
Yeah.
And so, I guess something like you can see.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and especially if you've got like a sky which is mostly white or something like that, it kind of helps to set the print out from a.
Yeah, definitely.
But I stupidly think I dropped some water or something when I was moving my holding tray around, so I just had to clean up my larger. I think I dropped it on the box of paper.
Shit.
How's the solarization, non-solarization going, John?
I pretty much started again doing my test strips because I didn't write down my settings, and yeah, I've had to start again.
By let's see. Oh. Okay. Okay. So 60.
That's better.
I wonder how I can flip my screen around. I need to turn it around. I need to turn my screen around because I'm about to open some big paper.
sounds like someone's ready.
Yeah, that was me. I walked away. So Thomas, how many people got in touch saying that they'd like a print from you?
I think about 10, so not too many, but good enough. So I think I'm busy enough making these prints.
That's a really nice thing to do, isn't it? Little kind of print swap.
Yeah, like most of them actually offered to send something back, which is nice. Like I just put this up as I will send this for free, no obligations, and like almost everyone was like, "Oh, cool," but I will send something back. So this is really nice. So if anyone of you wants a postcard,
I'd love one. Yeah, I'd love one.
I think that's the best way. You know, just give people a picture, and sometimes they give you a picture back.
Yeah.
If it's a trade, it feels a bit more like, you know, there's a lot of pressure on everybody to actually make a really nice print.
Yeah.
We know what happens when there's pressure. It never gets done. Well, it doesn't for me. Right.
And now I...
Six. Okay.
Actually, I have a question for the rest of you guys. On one of previous episodes, he was doing a celerization. We were talking about using a timer to develop, and I think John said he always uses his timer religiously for his time. I also do, but Dave, is it Dave Bloomsbury? Dave
Allen.
Yeah, Dave Allen. Sorry, Dave Allen. He doesn't actually. He does it all by feel and touch. I'm just wondering what you guys do as well.
Like timing the exposure or the development?
The development. So when I'm developing in the print, some of us obviously use a timer and do it for the minute, and then I think other people don't necessarily do the proper timer or use a timer. They do it all by feel and touch. And I was just wondering what you guys do.
I'm just using like a wall clock, so I'm doing it kind of by the minute, but not really exactly. So I'm just looking every few seconds if it's ready or not.
Okay.
Well, if I'm going to lie to you, I time everything perfectly every time.
You're much more of a feel and touch kind of guy then.
I think, it's like, because I use those Nova slot processors a lot. It will vary, even though I'm putting it in for 60 seconds into the developer with a large piece of paper. It obviously takes a long time to drip all the chemicals off before putting it in the next slot. So that must be developing for a good like minute and a half on a large piece of paper. But I guess it's consistent, isn't it? That's the thing. There's consistency there, even though the times are maybe not to spec.
Yeah, I also found it depends on how much space the paper has in the tray. So if the paper just fits your tray, it needs a bit longer to like be right on the edges of the stuff. While if you put like small paper in a tray, you can leave it much shorter.
I've done massive prints with like rolls of paper where I've diluted MG Dev to 1+19 and rolled the paper through and not been consistent with the time at all. Just kind of make sure that it all gets developed. And that was absolutely fine. So I think as long as you kind of you make sure every part of the image is developed, then it takes quite, especially if you're using more dilute chemicals, it's going to take a long time before it gets overdeveloped.
Yeah. I've never tried doing anything larger than 9.5 by 12 at the moment, but I've seen some videos of people, using huge sheets. I don't know what sort of trays you have to use to even develop that. Or I guess paddling pool if you're Dave.
Yeah. Works,
Have you
isn't
seen this Tanky Mac one-shot video where they do this huge print?
Yeah. And Simon. Yes. I'll tell you what, that ortho film is really low grain. I've got this 35 neg blown up pretty large to cover a large square format. And you can only just see the grain if you really peek into it. So,
Did you shoot it at ISO 80?
I actually shot it at 125 because I forgot that I had FP4 in before. And then I think I developed it as if it was at 80 and then added an extra 30 seconds or something on.
Right.
I can't remember if it was Ilfasol or LC29. I think it was Ilfasol.
I've just done my first solarization test. Dun-dun-dun. It's done something.
John, it seems we can't see your video. Is it because you are streaming another camera to the live stream?
Oh, right, hold on. Let's have a...
I can't see it either.
Oh, is it gone? I think it's going out on the stream okay. It's should be my trays. Let's see. Adrian's just come in with a comment saying that he let's just flip this up. He saw a printer. It's not fitting, is it? He once saw a printer watch when the image first appeared, and then he multiplied that time by 10 for his development time. Anyone ever heard of that before?
No, but it makes sense, I guess.
Interesting. I'll do some tests on that at some point. To be fair, I'll probably just keep doing what I do and just go, yeah, that was cool. Stop. That's a cool idea.
Right.
Ten, 15, 20, 25, whatever, 30 seconds.
I've got my first solarization result up on the screen at the moment, which is more successful than my last attempt, that's for sure. The problem I've got is it's quite interesting, but I left it in the developer when I fired the flash, and because I was agitating it, I've got all the waves from the top of the chemicals. Casting shadows all over the print.
In a good or bad way?
It's not what I wanted. I guess it's something that could be utilised, but it's certainly not what I want in this print. So I'm going to have to take it out of the developer when I do the flash. Or just keep the developer, or not agitate the developer.
You're not using trays, right?
I've got trays set up for this.
Because in a tray you could just wait a moment until it's like calm, right?
Yeah, but I've got to time it exactly for the light. I'll give it another go and see what happens. It's not bad though. Kind of wanna. There's part of the image that I don't want the solarization effect on, so I'm going to just try and make a mask and hold that above it at the same time. That's my card.
printed in the meantime. I can show maybe quickly.
Oh, let me just bring your camera up, Thomas, so we can see that.
I have to be careful with this orientation switch on the phone, but it's the wrong way around now, but I guess you get the idea. So this is just around the corner where I live. It's a small like area with like street art all over the place. Okay, so I'll try another one of that same negative.
Got a couple of prints that I'm print differences, I guess. So these are both with the MG5, but all I've done here is, so this is in the fix still, and this is my holding tray. This was a print of 10 seconds on grade 0, 16 seconds on grade 0 and about 10-11 seconds on grade 5. Without burning in this section here, and then this is the same settings but to burn in a bit more into this area. I'm not going to get anything in the sky. The sky is pretty much not there on the actual negative, but yeah, something I like this paper. Big fan of it. You get the same similar is on the multi-grade 4, but much longer timings, much longer. So.
The MG5 is slower, did you say?
No, the MG5 is quicker. So my actual printing times are much quicker than the MG4, which is much slower. So, or at least to get to the same level of contrast in the paper, at least.
Well, I've got a first result.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I got some interesting. I did my test down the middle, which basically is it's got no density. Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. It looks like an ink.
What?
Like an ink splat.
It's what? Yeah, it is. Like... It's like an ink block pen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll try printing it again with less exposure.
Thomas, are there different types of that postcard paper available?
Basically just different finish. I think glossy and pearl are the basically Ilford terms for glossy and matte, I guess.
Yeah.
Or semi-matte. But yeah, that's about it.
And what, like, I've done a couple of prints with it before, but I always thought that the reverse side, the ink on it seemed really faded. Is that?
Yes,
have you found that?
That's true. Yeah. It almost looks like it was stamped on, like with these like ink stamps, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's as long as it's good to hear that somebody else. I remember reading somebody else had that problem. I remember seeing on Twitter as well. It's just like that. If that's the way it's supposed to be or the way it is, then I wondered if it was something to do with strength of chemicals or I don't know,
maybe I'm not sure. Time. Yeah, I mean, I could waste one and take one out of the package and see how it looks like without being wet and stuff. But I guess there won't be a difference.
Yeah.
Also, what I discovered and what I totally forgot again today is there is like an orientation with postcards, right?
Yeah.
So when you print on them, you should make sure that you have it in the proper orientation. And today again, like I totally forgot. So I guess half of them will be in the wrong orientation.
How do you know? I suppose you can see in the safe when you take it out. You could look into safe light, couldn't you, at the back of it?
Yeah. You see it on the safe light.
Yeah. Right. I have got some solarization tests done. Let's go through these on camera. So this bottom left one is the original straight print. That was the first solarization test. It's getting all the ripples along the top. And this is the last one I did where I cut a mask out, which you can see. It's really badly done. To stop the central part of the image being flashed by the light. But comparing these two, this area here, I'd want to be the same as that. But obviously what's happened is because I've had to take it out to put the mask on, this has then developed a lot more in the process.
So I got yet another print ready here if anyone wants to see.
Let's bring your camera.
So this is from Lissabon, if I remember correctly, or it's Lisbon in English, I guess, in Portugal. So they have this elevator in the middle of the city, and from there I took this picture onto the street.
Very nice.
Okay, up to the next one, I guess.
How are you doing multiples of the same print, did you say?
Yeah, I kind of went without test strips now because after the first few I got an idea like about the exposure times for this size. So I'm just going like with basically the first one is the test strips test print, and then I do like 2 or 3 more of each to get it right basically.
Yeah.
So, John, that postcard that you sent me, that postcard that you'd sent me, I'm not sure if you can see it there, was that printed digitally then, or is it a darkroom one with
That's a moo.com print.
Ah. I assume it's still one of yours.
Yeah. Yeah, from my image. That would be way too cheeky, wouldn't it? It's like I'm just downloading photos off stock sites and trying to and sending them to people.
Oh, I bet people do it.
Hmm. Right. So Dan, I've just come back to my computer for a bit. How are you getting on, Dan?
Really? All right, hang on. I'll come over. Nothing about. This one's got. I dialed down the contrast a bit. I'm liking the kind of weird Rorschach kind of look. Let's see.
So is the light just reflecting off the negative or the film, or is it and causing that?
I'm sorry?
So as in, what's causing the Rorschach effect? Is it just the light is bouncing around and shining?
I think it's, the X-ray is bouncing off my insides.
And then more on your print.
They're consistent from shot to shot. Both images are the same. Okay, so I was thinking that it was something to do with the way that I'm watching it through the trays.
Ah,
But
okay.
in both shots. Right. So hang on.
Alex, did you say that you've got a comparison print now between the two papers?
Yeah. I'm just got one of them's right at the bottom of my pile, so I've got to rearrange. But I'll come back in about a minute.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not sure if you can, you guys can see the differences here. Let me grab this. But this side here is the number 4, and this side here is the MG5, and they're roughly. So going off the test strips, they're roughly the same sort of timings. I have burnt in this section a little bit longer on the MG5, but I think what the striking difference here is just looking at the grey/black. So this cab here is obviously lighter than this one, but it's quite grey here, whereas in here it's a lot darker. I don't know if that comes through on there, but just in general, the overall the darks in this image are much darker with the black elements. I think giving a overall more contrasty and possibly sharper image, or nicer looking image anyway.
Alex, I'm really sorry. Right. I just realised while you were showing that to the camera, I actually was just streaming picture of me eating a biscuit.
That's right. It's more interesting.
Would you mind just showing them again?
Yeah. Oh,
That's hilarious.
lovely live as well. Right. So on the left here, or my left, we've got the MG4. Right here we have the MG5. And I don't know if you can see, but this cab here is darker in the MG5 than it is in the MG4. Now they're not obviously identical timings because I went off test strips based on them, but to try and get them roughly the same. And on the MG5 here, I've burnt this in a little bit longer. But as a rough comparison, and you can see that the grey, the MG4 is a lot greyer than the MG5, and the darks just don't seem to get as black. So I think that leads to the MG5 to having like an overall more contrasty image, which is something that I in general have been going for. So yeah, I think
obviously via your camera through Skype, then back out to YouTube, like you can just make out a difference. But yeah, it's it's a bit frustrating, that element of technology, but
I'll scan them in once I've dried them down, and I'll also have I've made a couple of prints on the MG5 so that I can have one that's untoned and then another one that's toned in selenium, and then I'll be able to do a comparison between all three, and I'll post them up onto Twitter or onto my website so that people can see if people are interested. So
I will put a link to your Twitter in the comments.
Cool. Thank you very much. Does anyone know if Ilford are moving towards the MG5 as their stock paper now?
It's the only one that they're making now.
Oh, so they have stopped making the MG4.
Yeah. All the stock for that is slowly diminishing. So yeah, if that's what you want to print with, now's the time to get it in.
Yeah.
I think it's still available at most of the retailers I've seen, and at retail price. They haven't started discounting it yet just to get rid of it. I'm sure, like, if they don't get rid of their stock, I assume when it gets close to the expiry date or passes it, they might start shifting it a bit cheaper. Yeah. But from what I've seen, it's all still full priced, I think.
Maybe I'll stock up on a bit of it if it gets down. But because the MG5 is not that much more expensive than the MG4. In fact, it may even be the same price. So I think I'll start buying some of the 5 just to transition over to that. But when the 4 comes up cheap, I'm definitely going to get it. Still good paper.
Does anybody have any experience in freezing darkroom paper? Is that something that can be done?
Never tried it.
Anybody tried that before? Dan, have you ever frozen darkroom paper?
Like something that cannot be done.
If it gets damp,
but I'm not speaking from experience.
I'm just trying to think, if it gets damp because of humidity changes or something, and then in the freezer, and then when you thaw it, the paper could stick together, maybe?
Yeah, it might do. I don't know.
I've never tried it.
I don't freeze film, so I'm always dubious about what happens during that freezing and thawing process. But yeah, I can imagine with paper, then if there's any moisture in there, it's going to completely destroy it, isn't it?
I freeze my film, and then I just use it up too fast. I don't have enough of the stock, and plus, when I had it in the freezer, other people in my household would have preferred to have freezer space for food rather than film.
Weirdos.
I know, right?
Just eat the food. Just eat the food in one day.
Yeah.
I have my own beat. What does it film?
You ever what, Dan? Sorry.
I'm just saying, I have my own deep freeze just for film.
I do.
Yeah, because fridges in Hong Kong aren't very big because there's not a lot of space.
Yeah.
I think my film was using half the freezer space. So I decided I would be good and take my stuff outside. In case someone was going to move my, like aerochrome up to the regular fridge space or something.
That's expensive stuff these days.
So Danny's come in the comment saying MG5 is really high contrast. It's awesome for low contrast negatives. Some old ruined underfixed negs, etc. For a specific purpose, one needs it, but I always used multi-contrast papers. What do you mean by that? It's MG5 is multi-contrast paper, and you've got no choice but to use it now.
Well, yeah.
I guess.
I guess one of the things I might do at some point, I guess I could do it now actually, is keep the negative in and do some test strips and just have a look at the difference between the grades as you go up Ilford's grades. I could do it all the 0.5 grades as well, but that's just maybe I will do that. List the full stop grades.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, let's be honest, I'm never really going to use them except for a grade 0 and a grade 5 anyway, with maybe 2. I had intended to try and have a bit more consistency in my work. I'm kind of bored with this particular negative now, so I think I might change it up.
How are you getting on, Thomas?
Yeah, good. I can show the next one if you like. So this one here, can you see it? I guess if I remember correctly, that's from the Tate Modern in London. So yeah, doesn't look too bad, I think. The negative looked pretty contrasty, but I like the result in the print here. Like it's noisy, but it has some overall like lines and stuff.
Look good.
For how long did you want to let this go today? Because I think I need to finish up soon.
Oh shit, yeah, I didn't realise. It's 4:15.
I'm flies in,
Yeah, me too. Right, should we kind of wrap this up by all showing one last print? What we've got from today.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. I want to show this one because the one I did after I didn't like the masking on it. So I really like the kind of solarization effect around here. Obviously I want to get rid of the ripples at the top. But that's much more successful than the last time I tried it.
Quite subtle, John.
Yeah, it is. Like the clouds are massively overexposed compared to the central bit, So I think I've probably got to dodge the print or burn the sky in more just to help with like bring that through. But it's actually starting to get the effect which I didn't have before. There we go. Who's next? Dan, you're poised.
It's me and little smoker.
Ooh, nice.
No, I'm thinking of doing like postcards for my parents. I remember we first introduced my daughter, right, as an ultrasound scan. You know, I can't do the same work, of course, not having ovaries and all. But yeah, well, that's the inside of me. What's that there?
You could put little Christmas hats on them and do them for Christmas cards.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they got lovely little faces here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe little bunny ears or something. Yeah. But that's about postcard size. So that's I think that'll do. So they're completely off the wall.
Right. Let's go to Thomas.
I will just switch to the other camera again. So I just have it all in the water here, like everything I printed this session, like random stuff basically from negatives over several years. So yeah, I'm satisfied, I guess.
You're certainly the most productive out of us all today, I think. You produce the most quantity.
Yeah, if that counts anything, I don't know.
You know, John, before you go, I just realized, when I was looking at what I thought was your solarization stuff, I was looking actually at Thomas's bath full of print. Okay? So it's possible that everybody else on the, who was viewing didn't get to see your actual work.
Oh.
I was looking at it going, that doesn't look very solarized.
Let me grab it again. Hold on.
Alex, what about you?
I can't actually see. I still can't see John's video feed, so I was going to look back on the stream later.
Can you not see that?
I just have your Skype.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I can see now. Yeah, I can see now.
Oh, okay. Now we see it.
Okay.
I think the entire time what we've seen from you is like an avatar.
Oh, oops. So it's been going through. The video's been going through on the stream, but Skype wasn't picking it up for some reason. So, but yeah, so there's a massive reflection on it, obviously.
Oh, that looks cool.
That's great.
Yeah. So like I was saying, I've got the water ripples along the top because I was just firing a flash while it was in the developer. But I'm quite pleased with how the clouds have come out. And I did a test with where I masked out the central bit.
That looks
cool. But then the clouds were hugely overdeveloped because to do that I had to take it out of the developer, put it in water, put the mask on, then fire the flash. So the timings are completely wrong for this one. So I'd like to try and work through that and kind of combine the two basically to get the sky looking more like that with the mask over the central bit.
It still looks cool though, even with the one that the timings are up. Like I quite like this. Is it like a silvery?
Ooh.
Sort of like a surrealistic look.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't look very good in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't like it, and it's I don't know. I like the look of that one, like the sky in that one is kind of where I want it to be. Anyway, Thomas, let's go back to you then.
I think I was done, so we can go next to Alex, I guess.
Oh, right, sorry. Yep.
So,
Alex.
I still have basically the same image that I was working on. I think this is. I printed this up a couple. Can you see that? Not sure if you can. So it's just in my holding tray. I've got a Good to go and wash these properly, and then dry them, and then we'll see if we can tone some of them. So, I'm not sure if you're able to see that. Hopefully.
Yeah, they look great. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice. Right, on that note, has anybody got anything they'd like to say?
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has.
And actually, having people to talk into while you're in the dark room that are also working and doing some other stuff as well. It's been, yeah, inspiring but also useful.
Definitely.
Excellent. Pleased to hear. Well, anybody watching, if you want to leave any comments or anything like that, we can feed that through. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you all again. I don't know when we were talking about this earlier. We should probably think about topics to specifically cover at some point, because then we like I don't know how interesting it is for people to watch 4 people quietly tinkering around in the dark, with these kind of sporadic moments of, oh look, here's a print. So I think if we had maybe like a topic that potentially we're all working on at the same time.
I don't want it to be too much like a podcast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the randomness of it all is quite fun. And even if the videos don't get a whole lot of views, I mean, I don't. It's your money anyway, right? But I just want it to be fun for people to tune in and see, you know, what are we doing today? Who's on today?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it just having you guys around. And I think other people might enjoy just tuning in to see what we're all doing today.
Yeah, I agree. Like, one of the other downsides of kind of coming up with topics and planning stuff is you have to spend a lot of time doing that element of it. And I'd rather just us all be cracking on with what we're doing anyway, because then you don't have to do any admin. You know, and we're more, if we've got to do that side of it, I think we're less likely to do it, because it'd be like, right, we've got to spend another hour prepping for an hour's stream. So it's kind of nice just to come in and carry on with what you're doing anyway. I
have to say, having this today did mean that I actually set up and did something in the dark room, because I was umming and ahhing. It's like, oh, I haven't done anything for a couple of weeks. Should I get back in? And being said, hey, let's go live. I was like, okay, yeah, let's set this up. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good bit of motivation. Okay, well, let's just continue as we are then. Done. We'll sort out another date, and yeah, we'll put it out on Twitter and what have you when we do a next one. So if you'd like to tune in then, do it. Thank you for watching, everybody, and see you all soon. Bye.